I would gift this to everybody because I think, regardless of who you are, I said Hugh, funny. Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with a book tag. I don't know what is happening. I did nothing this morning. I literally woke up and my hair decided to be nice. Who is she? So today we're going to be doing another bookish tag, and I actually came up with this idea. I was going to do something else, and then I saw this tag show up on my feed last week, and I said, oh my goodness, I need to do this one. So this is the Booktube Giving Tag, and this was actually created by Elliot. I will make sure I leave her channel down below, and it's all about kind of raising awareness and giving back this holiday season, especially around Thanksgiving. So I thought with this video being one of the first or the last ones you see before Thanksgiving, we would do it now. So I will leave her original video down below where she kind of goes into a charity near her that's really important and really needs some help. And I know I personally will be donating to that charity, but I wanted to do this tag just to raise awareness for that charity and just charities in general. If there are any like in your personal life that you have been thinking about donating to or helping around the holiday season, here's your sign. But without further ado, there are about, I want to say 10 or so questions in this tag. I have them here, so I'll be looking off screen. I will also leave them down below, so feel free to play along with me in the comments. But let's get started because there's some pretty decent ones here. I'm excited about these. So apologies if you can hear the road throughout this video. They have started construction outside. I know I mentioned that in like a couple of vlogs ago, but if you're not a vlog watcher, I'm sorry. They've started construction and also it's now rush hour. So apologies for any sounds that you hear. We're just gonna have to keep going. Alright, so all of these questions have the word give in it somewhere. So the first one is, what book would you give everyone if you could? And this one is a little tricky because I have some that I just think are really important and I feel like everyone should read them. But I haven't talked about this one in quite a while, and I think it's a good one, and that is This Beauty, which is Wonder by R.J. Palacio. So this is just a stunning middle grade book that I read in college, actually. I read it for a class and just completely blew my mind, and it's one of the sweetest books I've ever read. So this follows our main character, Augie, who has been homeschooled his entire life because he has a face deformity. And he goes to middle school for the first time. And of course, that brings a lot of bullying with it. So we're watching him kind of start middle school for the first time. But throughout the story, there's also one of my favorite things about the story. First off, let me start there. One of my favorite things about the story is that it is told from multiple perspectives. So we get mostly from Augie's perspective, but we have his sister. I believe we get a couple of his friends. I think maybe the bully gets a perspective in this one. I might have made that one up. It's been a little bit since I've read this, but I loved this book because it has all of these different perspectives, but it's also, you can tell they're different perspectives. Like, for example, I believe his sister has a perspective in this book and she's in high school, and you can tell the difference in writing between when you're in Augie's perspective and when you're in her perspective. And it's just really interesting to see that switch, and you can really tell the age of the person who is talking. But it's also a very like humble and like sweet story. Even though it's got all of this like bullying and negativity in it, it's still a really sweet story. And it was made into a movie, which I have not seen yet, but I do need to watch it. But it's one of the best stories I've ever read, and I definitely need to reread it because it's been a few years. But this is definitely one that I would gift to everybody because regardless of who you are, I think that you will devour and adore this story because it's amazing. So the next one is actually it's a pretty funny one, and that is, what is a book you couldn't give a rat's hiney about? And there's a couple that I probably would be happy weren't books, but the one I'm going to choose for this one is actually After Alice by Gregory Maguire. Now I do technically still own this one, but it's downstairs and I don't feel like getting it. But this one is kind of his reimagining of Alice in Wonderland. So it follows this girl who is supposed to be friends with Alice, and she goes through the rabbit hole after Alice, and so she's kind of just trying to find Alice and is basically doing all the exact same things that Alice did. Now, I will admit that I only read like the first half of this, but I found a lot of things that I didn't like about this book. It was really boring. The story just kind of felt like there was no need for it, you know? It just kind of felt like it was the same story, because it's literally this girl who follows Alice down the rabbit hole, and she's doing everything that Alice does. So, like, nothing's really changed. Now, the end of it might have been different than, obviously, Alice, but that was just really boring in my opinion. But you also did get this second person, which I believe was that girl's sister, and she's up in the world, and she's just kind of, honestly, I don't know what the point of her was. She was just there, but she had some situations and was in some situations with people who were saying very racially insensitive things, and I realized that it was set at a certain time, but still, I just could not, I couldn't do it comfortably. Everything about it made me icky. So yeah, this one is one that I would be very happy if it didn't exist. Not gonna lie. It can go away and I'd be happy. So the next one is, given that the holidays are coming up, what is a book that you wish someone would gift you or buy you if you were someone who celebrates, you know, the gift-giving holidays? So this is tough for me because, like, I love books, obviously, so it doesn't really matter to me. I do have like a wish list that I kind of just make for, like, I mean, you guys have access to it, but it's mostly for like family and friends who have no idea what the heck is going on. But I would say for me, I'm really trying to collect Christina Lauren books, so I do have like a handful of them, but like primarily their Beautiful Bastards series, I think, is one that I've been interested in. The older I get, the more I'm into certain parts of romance, and I think that one is significantly more adult than some of the other ones, and I've reached an age where, like, I'm there for that. So I think I would really enjoy this series. It's a kind of enemies to lovers office romance type story, and it's like a book series. Like, I want to say it's like 6 or 8 books, like something ridiculous like that. I might be all kinds of wrong, but I haven't been able to find it anywhere. And like, I've been trying to get a lot of the Christina Lauren books at like my used bookstore, but their selection is significantly less than it used to be, so I haven't been able to find very many there. But yeah, that's one that I would love to pick up at some point. So I'm gonna say maybe that one, because I think I'd like it. I really do. The next question is, what is a book or series you've given up on? And I would like to do a video about this at some point, because there's quite a few series that I've just decided are not for me. But one of the most recent ones is actually the Skin Bone series, and the first one in that is Ink by Alice Broadway. So I have read Ink. I read it about a year ago, and then if you guys remember from, like, I think it was my October wrap-up, if that has to be it. So I did try to give it a chance. I read the first, like, chapter or two, and I just had zero interest, you know? Like, I just wasn't, I didn't want to read it. I wanted to read other things. I had zero want to continue, I guess. Like, it had been enough time since the last one that I was like, I don't really care about this series anymore. And I think if I had read them back to back, then maybe I would have finished them. But yeah, this is a series that I have since unhauled, or I'm about to unhaul. It's probably in a box downstairs. But it's just one that I was like, I tried, and the interest isn't there anymore, you know? Like, it's nothing against the writing, it's nothing against the author or anything like that. It's just, I kind of fell out of it. Like, I'm not interested in that series anymore. So that's one that I've definitely given up on. So the next one is actually one that is rather interesting to think about, and that is, what is a character you wish the author would give more time to? And this one is kind of an interesting answer, because it's actually like a trio. It's like a little group of friends, but they're always together, so they kind of like act like they're the same person. And that is the 3 witches from The School for Good and Evil. I'm now blanking on all of their names. So there's 3. There's 3 friends, and they are introduced in this book, and they're part of like the main cast of characters, but I am in love with them. They are my favorite characters in this series. Like, after having read all 6 books and taking a step back, I have come to appreciate them a ton more. So I would be happy if they got more time. They got plenty of time, don't get me wrong, but they could always get more, you know? So I'm gonna say them, because I loved them. They're kind of like the comic relief of sorts, but also like the I'm gonna get this thing done kind of people. And I just loved them. I just loved them. So the next one is kind of like the reverse of that, and it is a character you wish the author would give less time to. And so I'm gonna go with, oh, I've forgotten his name. It's a guy in this one, which is Jane Steele by Lindsay Fay. I read this one in October, and it's like kind of like a reimagining of Jane Eyre in a sense. But there's, oh shoot, here we go, hold on. I found it. His name is Mr. Munt. Now, he is the boarding school, I guess, for the lack of, it's not really a boarding school, but it's kind of a boarding school. So he runs the boarding school. I think he's also a reverend, or at least he acts like a religious man. And he is, dear god awful. And I understand the point of him. He's important to the story, but I could have done with 0 of him, because he was the worst character. And he's based off of the worst character in Jane Eyre too. So like, his archetype is not great anyway, but seriously, like, he could have not existed and I would have been beyond happy. So yeah, no, he needs to go. He needs to go. Goodbye, kaput, be gone. He's gone. The next one is, if you could give up almost all of your books, which ones would you keep? I would have to say, I don't want to give up any of my books, but I would say some of the like more special editions, or the ones that have been personalized to me, specifically ones that like I stood in line to meet the author and had like a very good interaction with them, like My School for Good and Evil series, the books that are by Alexander Bracken, the Ones in the Darkest Minds series. I had really good interactions with both of those authors. And then like special editions that I can't get anywhere else that like mean a lot to me or something. So I would say probably those, but I don't like thinking of not having my books. I've become attached to them. I like them. I don't want them to go anywhere. The next one is, what is the best bookish or bookish thing that you have been given? Now, I showed this off last year because I was gifted it last year by my amazing mother-in-law, who made this herself, by the way. Now, she really got into the Cricut machine and all of that kind of like laser cutting things during COVID and after COVID. And I'm going to see if I can try to find like a video that I took of it so I can show you it better. But she laser cut this together, and it's the Golden Trio and like the outline of Hogwarts. So it lights up. I'm going to have to do a better job at this. But like, she rigged this herself with a battery pack and like cut all of these layers out and put them in this stunning, like, just, she put so much work into this. So I personally, like, this is one of my favorite things I've ever been given that's bookish, because it just means so much that she took the time to do this, you know? So I'm in love with this one. I kind of, it hides over in the corner. I don't turn it on very much because I don't want to have to replace the batteries, but I love this. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. The next one is, what is a book someone gave you that you wish you could give right back? Oh, I've got a perfect one for this. So I think it was last year sometime, I picked up this nonfiction, which is for women only, and it was utterly horrendous. It needs to go be burned in a fire. Like, oh my god, it was so bad. This one was gifted to me by someone who has very different ideas of marriage than I do, and very different ideas. It was just much more dated than like the modern times, and it was almost like, it was really, really sexist, basically, and what like women had to do to keep their husbands and be all this amazing stuff. And I was like, let's just not do that. That'd be great. So I read it. It was a gift for our wedding to me personally. It was actually at one of my bridal showers, and it was no, I don't even have it anymore. I immediately got rid of it because it was so bad. So yeah, do not recommend. Would gladly give back. Kapoof, be gone. I'm done. And the very last question is, name a time in a book that a character was given something really meaningful. So this doesn't spoil anything, I don't think. No. So my answer is going to be The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. Primarily the fact that Addie was given the ability to be remembered. So I'm sure many of you know what this is about, but it follows a girl named Addie LaRue who made a deal with the devil, basically, that she thought was one thing and ended up being something completely different. And she's now basically been cursed to live forever, but no one can remember her except for this guy who put the curse on her. And then at one point during this book, which is really where like the plot kicks off. It's kind of like modern day in New York, and she's remembered by this bookseller, and it just sparks this whole different thing and whole different journey for her. But just like the ability to be remembered was so lost for her that it was just amazing to see. So I would say that. Super cheesy answer, but that's my answer, is that she was given this gift to be remembered, and it's so sweet. It's so sweet. But that's it. That is the giving tag. So like I said, I will definitely leave the original linked down below where you can find the link to this very specific charity that she was talking about, or if there's just another charity out there that you would like to gift to, let me know some great charities. I would love to gift a little bit this year if I can. But again, I hope you played along in the comments. Let me know some of your answers to these questions. I'd love to know the characters you would and would not give more time to, or that you wish the authors wouldn't. That is just a fascinating series of questions. I would love to know your answers for those. But if you like this video, and I very much hope that you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you want to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got all my social media down there, as well as other fun bookish links, so don't forget to check all of that out, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye! The sun came out apparently while I was filming, so that was fun.